Austin is a taco town, but the quality of the tacos weren't really up to par to the rest of Texas, particularly South Texas. And being from the Valley, everyone from the Valley always would be talking about that Austin tacos suck and they're just very whitewashed. So it was just like the need to have a good representation of tacos and like, do things the most homemade way possible. I was working for Bloomberg, financial software that all of Wall Street uses, and it was just like a soul killer. You know, you're there and you're thinking like, why am I working for this organization? I ended up quitting that job. I bought a van, so that went out there, and that's the beginning of the business really. And in that van, we zigzagged the U.S. and Mexico back and forth, exploring tacos and tortillas, because the idea was to learn about the border culture, because the project would develop into border cuisine. Al pastor means the shepherd way. It's like when you say al dente, when you eat pasta, it's al dente, it's a little bit hard. It's in this way, right? The meaning in this way. So al pastor is the shepherd's way of cooking. For the al pastor taco to taste good, it should be flame seared. The flame should be vertical and on the side. Here in town, you find every taqueria have tacos al pastor, but they'll just put it on the griddle, on the plancha. That's not necessarily al pastor. That's like giving you really soft pasta and saying it's al dente. Like that's a lie. You know, we call the business vaquero taquero because it's an homage to that culture, because a vaquero is the original word of the cowboy. When the immigrants came from the East Coast, from Tennessee, the East Coast and other states there, they learned the cowboyish way, which came from the Spaniards and then evolved into the Mexicans, and it's this whole region. Gentrification is essentially an ecosystem, right? The way we come into gentrification, and Danny and I like to call it gentification, is just by consciously choosing where we place the business and where do we partake in a community, right? So we chose not to be in East Side Austin because it's a very problematic side of town where it's like one person would be like, I chose here because it's cheap and I like it and I can afford it. I don't mean to push people out. But there's factors. Other businesses move there to appeal to you because you consume there. Later on, there'll be a Whole Foods on the east side. And I mean, most Mexicans don't eat at Whole Foods. We just call it gentification, meaning that we choose consciously to be in a community and show our own culture and sell it to them in a respectable way. We're not here to be super loud, which we have, because that's just part of the culture. We have broken piñatas at the store a lot. The neighbors have complained. But when they complain, we understand. Like, okay, we're in this neighborhood. Okay, we're sorry. We'll change it, whatnot. Integration is really the solution to gentrification.
It's kind of like in our family tradition to kind of like look for your own thing. Like several people in our family just kind of do their little businesses. It's
very entrepreneurial, yeah.
But we're basically a family that moves back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico, sometimes twice a year.
You know, if you look at the border, you would see a river in the Texas border, and you look at the cities, the border, it's always the city. North of the border, it's a city. North of the river is a city, and right south of the river is another city, meaning that it's one city divided by a river. How do we feel about being bicultural? It's like, just come to the border and you'll understand. It's like, go to northern Mexico, you understand. It's the same exact culture in a different country. Exactly the same.